I'm going to get to the public comment time, if I would. First is Tiffany Lois. Thank you, Andy. Again, if you could keep it to 3 minutes, Tiffany, I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Good evening, council members, Mayor Kildee. First, I want to mention that I actually am of the second graduating class from Channel Island, so I know they all left. But
Yay.
2004, I graduated from there, so not the class of 3, but whatever came next. So I do live here in town. I grew up in Camarillo. I say I have dual citizenship between Camarillo and Ventura, both which are farming communities, so I'm used to all the different odors and smells, and I'm very lucky I live towards the Somas end of town, so I get to smell cilantro and strawberries. Not so much the hemp smell, but I am on that end a lot. My daughter plays soccer. We can smell it at the soccer fields. But I do want to point out that though the odor definitely is bothering some folks, we do live in a farming community. And I would hope that the council would keep in mind that this is also possibly a very slippery slope for us. If we start saying the smell is bothering the citizens and therefore we should consider a moratorium because of odor was the number one, the first item, whether that not was on purpose, it was. The other items about the processing safety, these plants have been out there for maybe a few months now. I don't know that there's been any safety issues. I haven't heard of any. If we were going to have them, now would be the time because people think that they're marijuana. They're going to get smarter and then stop trying to steal them. So now is the time we would actually have those safety issues. People out there trying to steal the items, they're going to wise up and those safety issues are going to diminish. So the pollen and what have you, I do have empathy for those who are having some new allergies because they're not used to that type of pollen. That will diminish with time, I'm sure, but I do want to say that I empathize with them. But the urgency ordinance for this, I would hope that you take that very seriously. Odor is not something we should consider for an emergency ordinance. Again, the plants have been here for now quite some time, so we would know if there was a safety issue. The odor is going to subside per the instruction that we received earlier, and we're only going to have this crop a few times a year. It's great for the environment. As an environmentalist, I really appreciate having something like this in my community. It gives back to the soil, gives nutrients, takes less water, great for the environment product-wise. So anyway, I hope you do consider not doing a moratorium, and thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have Bryan Larson. Again, 3 minutes, if you would, Bryan. I appreciate it.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So one of the first things that I noticed about the moratorium is people are concerned about the odor. And I just have to say, for my opinion, I don't find that to be a compelling reason to enact a moratorium on this. That we're in a farming community, we have, like the previous lady said, we have lots of smells. I'm sure people have smelled the broccoli and the cabbage and the other things. Those certainly don't have pleasant smells, but we aren't considering moratoriums on cabbage and broccoli and the other crops either. As for the safety thing, I think I remember some public safety concerns about theft and that kind of thing. I don't find that to be a compelling argument either, and the reason is people aren't going to be going out to the hemp fields trying to steal the buds to use to get high, and that the reason is this industrial hemp, as they said, has a 0.3% THC, which is the psychoactive component. Whereas actual cannabis that's used for you know what I'm trying to say. It ranges between like 10 to 30%. So that's 2 orders of magnitude difference. So if you were going to go try to smoke the industrial hemp, nothing's going to happen unless you go out with the combine, harvest a huge quantity of it, and then you have to take it back and process it and distill it down to some concentrate, which just is not economically or logistically viable as a criminal enterprise. Furthermore, I have to take issue with the language of this being an urgency ordinance. I don't see how this would be considered urgent because, to echo what the previous lady said again, there's no known safety issues with this. There's no risk of it contaminating our water or air, or aside from the odor, which I've already mentioned. With all the other surrounding cities kind of enacting their own moratoriums, I find this would be like a great opportunity for our city to put this as a green light and let our farmers kind of cash in on this, which would bring in a lot of revenue for them, which would translate to revenue for our city. I think that's a great opportunity that we should be taking advantage of. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
Mr. Larson, are you a farmer?
No, I do not have any affiliation with farming or agriculture.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have Bryan Hope, right here. In 3 minutes, if you would, Bryan, please. Thank you.
Mayor and Council, my name is Bryan Hope of Extracted Botanicals, and I oppose any moratorium on industrial hemp, whether temporary or permanent. Such a ban on a federally legal agricultural crop is un-American and further strains struggling farmers that can make a decent living farming this crop that was historically strong in this country. It's a crop that is typically grown without toxic chemicals, unlike strawberries, which are prevalent in this county. If odor is the issue, then perhaps there should be a moratorium on broccoli or garlic or onions or any other crop that may have odor. I see a day in the near future where all of the single-use petrochemical water bottles, like the ones in front of everyone here this evening, will be made from non-toxic, biodegradable hemp plastics. Please consider being among the leaders in this expanding and inevitable industry. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Mis-
Next, I'm sorry, Jim.
Mr. Hope,
She had a question.
I just wanted to ask you, are you a farmer?
I'm not.
You're not,
I
okay.
know a lot about the farming of hemp.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next I have Mahesh Talwar. Mahesh. Again, 3 minutes, if you would, please, Mahesh. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, and the council members here. So I do grow hemp, not in the state here, but outside of the state, but I live pretty close to here. And my interest in speaking here, I was looking to put a processing facility in the city of Camarillo, and I read the broad nature of this moratorium, which kind of concerned me. Should I be looking to some other city to put my lab and processing facility? Now, looking at what is being presented here, we got 18 acres in the city limits. We have a crop that the next cycle will begin in 6 months. As a grower, I know it takes about 10 to 12 hours of sunlight for it to produce buds. So you have 6 months to figure it out. Why have an emergency declaration here, moratorium here, and have 45 days, the sky's not falling? I think we have time. Study it. I'm not saying there are no real issues, but you have time on your side. So please study it carefully. And my last comment here is, the city has been, I've lived here in the county for 30 plus years, and I've seen the city of Camarillo as being in the forefront of technology. You guys have done excellent jobs in bringing all the industry here that's very high tech, and allow the labs that process with innovative technologies. Bring it to the Camarillo, city of Camarillo. That'll bring quality jobs, an excellent hub of technology that can do good to humankind. So I'll encourage you not to adopt this moratorium. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Daniel, I believe it's Gabry. Daniel. In 3 minutes, if you would, Daniel.
Hi, my name's Daniel Gabry, and I live over there on Pleasant Valley Road, right across the street from the county. If I go out, I can literally go out there 200 feet, and I'm already in front of where they're planting there. But anyways, I hope the county follows as well to have a moratorium. I've lived there for 27 years, and I've never had such a bad smell till now. I know people talk about broccoli, cabbage, the cilantro. That smells great, the cilantro. But anyways, there's other kind of smells, but this is like, it almost smells like dog crap. And, I shouldn't even have to tolerate this. I bought 2 new vehicles, one last year and one this year. And I don't have that new car smell. It's a new hemp smell now. So, and I could get stopped by the police, and I've never used drugs before, but they're going to think that, that I was smoking marijuana or something. So anyways, I just, there's other places where they can plant. I have nothing against it, but the smell is just terrible. And it lasts quite a while. Inside the house, it's really bad. And what else? This is such a beautiful city. I love it a lot, and it's sort of like a black eye for the city. And, it'd be nice for them to, plant it somewhere else. The smell is just extremely bad. And on that Nextdoor app, I know a lot of people were complaining, but I guess they're not here tonight. So I hope you guys consider on doing a moratorium it's just extremely bad, the smell. So there's times that it's greater and other times it's less during the day. It all depends how the weather is. So, okay, well, that's about all I have to say. And then there are people talking about safety. The people are amazed about it, and they're videotaping even while they're driving it. I see, I live right in front of it, and they're really amazed. So that could cause an accident right there on Pleasant Valley Road. It's a dangerous road, very dangerous road. So, that's a whole other issue, but still, we don't need this. People are really amazed of it, to see it out there. So that's about all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Olga Gabry. Olga with us. There she is.
Yes, hi, Olga Gabry. Daniel Gabry's sister. When I come to visit him at his home, he's already stated he lives directly across the street from the hemp plants. And the smell is atrocious. And I was really amazed that I went from his house to my house in Oxnard, and the smell of the hemp was still inside my car the following day and on my clothes. So people that say that, the smell's not an issue, it's an issue. And I'm not opposed to the hemp, and I know the purpose and what it can do for us. But I think the county in general needs to take in consideration what to do about the odor, because it is a problem. And it's not like, broccoli or cauliflower or anything like that. All those smells, they dismay after a while. But the hemp, it just really sticks, and it's just intrusive and harsh. So I would like to see a moratorium and study that. And also I have a question. The parcel that is labeled not industrial, what is that growing in that parcel if it's not industrial? Is that for recreational? And I think that one's in the city, if I'm not mistaken. Does anybody know?
Yeah, that is not a hemp crop. It's another agricultural crop. But we know that it's not hemp.
Okay, why was it mentioned?
Because we had put out information earlier stating that it was being planted as industrial hemp, and that was a mistake that we needed to correct.
Okay. Anyways, I would like for the county in general to take a look at the odor issue. I think it is a huge issue. And some people who spoke here tonight are talking about it not being a crime or going to become anything with crimes. They don't know. They haven't read all the reports. They don't know how many officers are coming up and down Pleasant Valley now, taking care of the area. People like driving, like my brother said, with their cameras and stuff. There's been more accidents on Pleasant Valley. Who knows why? So there's a lot of issues I think that need to be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you. Cory Hughes.
Hello, my name is Cory Hughes. I'm executive director for Pass It Forward. We're a nonprofit organization. We employ and educate students and communities on the benefits of industrial hemp. We would love to assist in the research of the study of the hemp program with your community if we can help. I'd like to address 2 programs that we're working on currently in Ventura County. One would be a carbon sequestering program. In Ventura County, you're currently growing 4,000 acres of hemp. For every 2.5 acres, you can sequester 13.5 tons. And currently, California is trading this carbon tax at $15 per ton. So we can, for every harvest, we can collect about $324,000 in tax revenue that no one's talking about. And California is in the carbon tax trading program. So Ventura County can play a big part in that and getting some money back. Another program we work on with the students and community people is a program with building materials. We are the company that's going around creating hempcrete structures for installation. We have a job in a few weeks at Northridge where we're doing, with the students at Northridge School, we're doing an attic and re-insulating it. They have a DWP program. We're trying to show the benefits of how industrial hemp can bring down the energy efficiency opposed to other toxic materials, and you guys are going to be sitting on quite a bit of it. And even after it's extracted in the programs and put to the side as waste, it could still be turned into building materials that you guys can benefit off of. Usually people would throw it in a dumpster because a lot of communities don't know about these programs, but we bring this education with what we bring to the students and communities. I'll leave my card or my information. If you guys need any kind of help in what you're doing, we are a wealth of information.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I
Yes.
have one quick question of the speaker. What organization did you say you were affiliated with? Passive Fort? Oh, Passive Forward. Okay.
You have a card? Okay. Next is Bev Dransfield. Is Bev? Oh, she is. All right, Bev. 3 minutes, if you would, Bev, please.
Good evening. Thank you for letting me speak tonight. I won't take up too much of your time as this has already been discussed at a length. One of the things I did want to bring up is the opportunity for more jobs with having this parcel, especially as mentioned by earlier in the presentation about how there will be more labor involved, especially due to the inability to use pesticide. And I bring this up because it reminds me of Lodi in up north, and they have a cannery, and it smells really horrible. It's tomatoes, and it just makes me think that the community, while they are upset about or concerned about the odor of it, there's the trade-off of them being able to employ several members of that community. And regarding the moratorium and the urgency of it, I believe based off the information provided tonight, that an urgency has not been established. So I urge the council to oppose the moratorium. Thank you.
Next, we've got Nicole Becerra.
Good evening, and thank you for listening to me. I'm just going to echo everything that my predecessor, Bev, said, that I believe that there doesn't necessarily need to be a moratorium. I think that you guys can approach this rational regulation, and I think the gentleman here, Cory, presented an amazing opportunity for you to embrace the people who are currently farming and actually be active, visit those farms, see what's going on, ask those questions, and see for yourselves firsthand what these farmers need, what those questions are, what it smells like for yourself. And also just mention it, and I do believe that, yes, there are lots of different smells as a Ventura County resident around, but the benefits versus the inconvenience. And you know, I've lived off of Pleasant Valley right across from Camarillo High School, and I've smelled manure and similar things to dog excrement myself. But, like other people's been saying here, it's a farming community, and there's so much to learn from these farmers for yourselves. And I think it's an opportunity for Camarillo also to be a leader. I'm also a hopeful entrepreneur myself, interested in a CBD business. And I think that's also something that is ancillary to what you guys discover and learn. How is it grown? How is it processed? Where can it be processed? What can it be turned into? Because I think that's only going to speak to more industry and more economic opportunity for Camarillo, as well as Camarillo hopeful business owners. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else tonight? I have several yellow cards. I'll pass them out to the council. First is Mo Van Huss, Huss. There's no legitimate reason to keep farmers from raising hemp. There's Emma Jane Larson. Hemp can feed, clothe, and house and alleviate pain. There's Margot Van, I don't know if it's Hess or Huss, but anyhow, Huss. I think this is unnecessary prejudice for hemp. We've got a Cory Dransfield. Cory says we should embrace new agricultural opportunities rather than holding out over minor NIMBY concerns. And we have Omar Sanchez. I personally know people streaming. I feel my home I want to free my home due to the odor. And with that, I'm going to pass all these out to the council members so they can read them. And again, I'll ask if anybody else wants to address the council on this issue. And if